Car con carne is really carless, con carne, quarantine, con carne. I'm not going anywhere. No one's going anywhere right now. And that's why I'm doing this podcast the way I am, remotely over the internet. Look at that. There's my guest. It's Stubby from LBC joining me, getting into position, enjoying an anti-hero, as you do here in Chicago. Stubby, I'm going to read my sponsor real quick. Then we'll talk. How's that sound?
Let's do it.
All right. Car con carne is sponsored by C&H Financial Services. Business owners, are you tired of your hard-earned profits going toward paying expensive fees every time your customer pays with a credit or debit card? We're happy to announce our partners at C&H Financial Services have the solution. C&H is the fastest-growing financial services company in Illinois, as recognized by Inc. magazine, and their patented technology allows you to eliminate 100% of the fees associated with accepting credit and debit cards as a form of payment. That's right, Stubby, 100% of the fees. C&H will also upgrade your business to the industry's leading point-of-sale system to streamline every aspect of your business for no cost. That's right, no cost. Visit freeprocessingnow.com or call 855-600-2437, extension 999, and start saving money today.
It's car con carne. Let's eat in the car. It's car con carne. And now here's the star of our show, James Van Alstyne.
And just like that, he's gone. And as we look into his room, I believe to Stubby's right, I see, is that Namor the Submariner on the wall?
Oh, yeah, man. That's my favorite.
I can see Namor. Who else is in that picture?
That's Achuma.
Attuma, of course, his arch nemesis.
Yeah. So Namor and Achuma, that's number 54. And then back here I got, this used to be on my wall, but I got Namor number 1.
John Byrne, classic.
Yep. Secret Wars number 1. The original Secret Wars, the good one. I don't know how good it was good for the time. Thor 390, which holds a special place for me, and then Hulk 379, which is another important one for me.
Careful.
I realized later when I sent that out to get made, and I realized later that like those were important books in other people's. As I didn't like, you know what I mean. I didn't like frame my McFarlane Spider-Man or whatever. I don't care, you know. I just those books were just times I remember like where I was like, yeah, I think I'm gonna read these for the rest of my life. You know what I mean? I was like, yeah, this is pretty cool. And I was really young when, especially when Secret Wars was my first real comic book. Before that, I used to just go to the library. Little tidbit on the I actually have a CD right here, but I just as a reference. But you remember like back when CD art actually mattered. On the spine of one of my old CDs is there's a J7415.9. And that's the Dewey Decimal System number for all of comic books. So when I would go to the library, I'd get dropped off, and I would go in and I would check out every comic book ever. And then I think it was for my birthday, I got Secret Wars. It was like a 3-pack. I only got the first 3, so it wasn't until I was, well into my 20s that I actually read the whole thing.
Here's the thing. I still go to the library. The library is a wealth of stuff for me to take home. I get tons of new graphic novels that at the end of the day, I'd probably regret spending money on because they're expensive. And if the story sucks, it hurts. But I went to the library Thursday. No joke. I'm prepared for COVID-19. Got a bunch of movies. Island of Dr. Moreau. The First Purge.
Nice.
The Purge Anarchy. Hatchet. Don't know anything about this.
Yeah. You're a horror guy, right?
Village of the Damned.
Yeah, obviously you are a horror guy, yeah.
Return of the Living Dead. The strangely black and white homoerotic Lighthouse. Have you heard about this?
No.
It's supposed to be really good. This is going to suck. Angel Has Fallen. That's the what's his name? Gerard Butler.
I
Looks terrible.
I don't do movies, especially horror. So horror movies, when I watch them while I'm watching them, I'm cool. I enjoy them. It's just when I go to sleep or when I try to go to sleep, I already don't sleep well. I'm an overthinker by trade, and it's a good thing in sometimes, but oh geez, well, not when you're trying to sleep. But yeah, I can't do horror. But it's funny that you say movies because right after this, I have a date with myself and Rise of Skywalker because I haven't seen it yet.
Okay.
It's on Amazon. Like I know it's eventually going to be on Disney Plus, but that's one of those things where I was like, I'm going to buy this and I want to watch it. So I'm going to sit there and I'm going to watch it. And obviously, if I fall asleep during it, I have have a lot of time on my hands just sitting around. But my life hasn't changed that much because my life was going to work, coming home, and hanging with the baby.
Right.
So now it's just I work from home a fair amount. So now it's just work from home all the time and play with the baby.
Right.
So it's the only difference is everybody else that is like complaining about having this time off. And I get it. I'm not trying to get too deep into that, but they're actually off doing nothing. Like since I have the privilege of being able to work from home on regular days, on days like this, I'm expected to work from. I have to work, right. And it's real work. It's not just like, oh, work from home, cracking a beer at noon. No, it's I have to work. So I'm excited. Either way, sorry, it's a Rise of Skywalker. So I hate people, so I won't go to movie theaters.
You hate people.
So this quarantine is just like basically like it's like, oh, so basically the life I want to live, I can live without having to explain to people now. So yeah.
Right before we started recording, you said, I hate Facebook. I got to put away my phone. I'm done with Facebook.
Yeah.
It seems like I've heard that from you before.
Yeah, I just fight with people, man. And it's just pointless because am I gonna change somebody's mind? And the thing is though, there have been good conversations from both sides, where a solid educated, no mudslinging conversation where we were going back and forth at each other, but it was always cool. And I really think that both of us left that conversation smarter and with a little bit more empathy towards the other side. So there have been conversations that I think are good, but most of the time it's just like, oh, you're a libtard, and I'm like, oh, you're a Trump head, and it's like stupid. It doesn't get anywhere, and it's like all it does is rile me up. That kind of energy kills my creativity.
It's exhausting.
It's too much. And where you think like I guess if I was in a band like Rage Against the Machine or something, that would drive me, but I don't think so. I don't like I'm pretty. I talk about a lot of social stuff in my songs, and I think that energy, because when people say it's face to face versus like social media, like social media warrior or whatever, I think what they were saying is you don't have to look at that person's face.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to actually be like, that person's a real person, that person actually has real feelings, and like it's just a name in some text. It's not like a beating heart, where like that person needs food and air and water and love like you do. And when you have that in front of you, that's why some of those rallies and stuff that I see on TV on both sides. By the way, on both sides, I've become more and more moderate as this has gone on. But watching these people from both sides that still have that hate towards each other, being straight face to face with them, is just like, whoa. Like I'm like, that's a whole bunch of hatred. Like I can't sit across from somebody that with a good heart feels a certain way, thinking that they are thinking the right thing and meaning the right thing face to face. Usually we end up being like, I get what you mean. I don't agree, but I get what you mean. And I see where you're coming from a good place. But you can't get that on social media, man.
You definitely can't.
Garbage.
Every time I talk to you, I realize, oh my God, I've got so much to catch. Every time I think I'm going to have a 15-minute chat with Stubby, it never works out that way.
15-minute chats with me, man.
I want to get some business things out of the way. Not even business things, but things I wanted to cross off with you. The last time I saw you was in December at your benefit, the MS Sucks benefit, which I thought was, I don't even know if it was wildly successful from the numbers perspective. It was wildly successful from just the way everyone felt walking out of there. It was truly a wonderful, inspired night, a fundraising night, a night of camaraderie and shared sense of purpose. I loved it. How did that go? I mean, what was the result for you?
I agree with you on that. Like, it was just a wonderful moment. It was I couldn't believe it was, as far as the emotion side of it, it was more than, it was everything I wanted and more. All those great friends and there was a lot of mistakes made on like timing and stuff, just learning stuff,
Yeah.
And even with all that, it was just felt so good. And just, one of my main concerns was I didn't want to make it too much. I wanted to make sure that it was still about the cause and not like just me. And it didn't feel like it was obviously centered around me, but like it didn't feel as like, it felt like it felt the point was across to every single person that this was about MS. And
without a doubt. Yeah. In fact, I think we saw more of Adam Cryer on stage than we saw you that night.
I'm sure. Yeah.
He was in like 6 of the 10 bands.
He's in every band.
He is in every band.
Yeah.
So and that also dovetails.
We raised $31,000
for a first-time charity event. That's spectacular. Congratulations.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
That feels pretty darn good. So that dovetails to the next question, because I spent a lot of time with you at the end of last year. You came on the podcast and we did the event together. You have MS. Mm-hmm. How are you feeling? It's been a couple months since I saw you. How was managing through that?
It's up and down. Like, I got my last infusion first week of Feb, I think. Yeah, it was first week of Feb. And I usually get MRIs right before or right after, and they test the last, what it is. So these are every 6 months I get these infusions. So what they does is it tests how well the last one does. And the best thing that I can ask for is just for it not to get worse, right? So my results came back, and I was actually, if it's possible, I'm doing better, which is like, it's not really, it's not a very, you don't hear that much. So doctors like, let's not jump the gun. I mean, MRIs are very it's very sensitive, right? So like, if I could have moved my head this way last time, moved it this way. And so he's like, one thing's for sure, it's not getting worse. So, but that's all fine and great on paper, but I don't feel that much better. You know what I mean? Like, I'm, and the thing is, I was diagnosed 3 months after, I was diagnosed when my wife was 3 months pregnant. So it's like, I haven't had a chance to really, I don't get to like lay down and do the stuff that I'm supposed to do. It doesn't work that way, not when you have a little kid. It's like, it's not her job. It's we just have to have a kid together, so it's like I gotta do it. So a lot of times the doctor asks me how I'm doing, and if I'm getting enough rest, and I just kind of laugh. I go, yeah, right. I mean, like, it doesn't work like that, man. And no, and but I'm doing good though, man. As far as like physically speaking, strength wise and stuff, I go to I was, before this whole thing started, I was going to the gym 3 times a week. I couldn't do a single lunge. and I was, for those that don't know, like I was in very good shape, before. It was a thing of mine. It was definitely a hobby or passion or whatever you're gonna call it, being in shape. So this was a pretty big blow for me because it was one of my releases, but I couldn't do a single lunge, and then now I'm able to do, you know, 4 sets of walking lunges, and it takes time, and every time I do it, it's hard because it's every time you have to remind your body that the first set always sucks because you have to remind your body that like it's that you can do this, that this is normal functionality, you're not injured, keep going, kind of thing. So yeah, it's hard, but I'm moving forward. Got a few more infusions and then I'm done for the rest of my life, hopefully. So
Good.
we'll see. And they found a cure, so let's I'm hoping the best for that one too. So
Wait. They found a cure?
Scientist in Cambridge says that she found the cure for this, but you know how our government is. It won't be here for 7 years at least, and then by the time it gets to here, who knows by the time what it's going to come down to the common folk. And luckily, I'm one of the, without being like, I'm not poor anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know how to say it. Like, like there's not a good way to say that, but like, and if I was poor, it'd be worse to get it, so.
For sure.
So like, it's just like, oh, hey, we found a cure for this awful disease, where the government's like, oh, hey, cool, we're going to buy a fighter jet. That same one of those fighter jets can pay for every single person in the United States to have this MS cure or whatever, but we still are going to buy this fighter jet instead. It's like, it's just heartbreaking. But anyway, yeah, they found a cure. I'm still reading up on it, but she seems pretty legit. I'm pretty excited.
So I forgot, this is my second podcast recording tonight. I forgot to actually bring food to my podcast. You brought beer, which I think counts.
Yeah, I have to.
The rules change. It's life under the pandemic. I mean, everything's different. We're not in the car. We're not eating food. It just is what it is. Can we talk a little bit about LBC?
Yeah, sure.
Growing out of it.
Yeah.
1998, you self-released, independent. You were a kid. You were just a punk kid from the suburbs.
I think I was 19 or 20. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Punk kid from the suburbs.
20. Yeah.
For the first time ever, it's being pressed onto vinyl.
Yeah.
Was that your idea? Was that an idea that was presented to you? Was this one of those things you always wanted to do?
Well, so I've been pushing for this to be on digital, at least for a long time, because you get a lot of requests from fans. And there's been some pushback within the band, that not wanting to do that. And it'll get out. It'll be a fight, but it'll get out. But the big thing was, all right, well, what if we put it out on vinyl? And I think it might have been Jason that brought it up. Me personally, I don't even listen to music, man. I barely do. I if I have some time, I listen. I'm reading, or just catching up on life. So, and because I'm not one of those people that like can just have music on in the background, and I envy people that like that. I really do. Like Pat and Adam and a lot of my friends, just you'll come over and there's music playing, and I'm like, if music's playing, I'm listening to it unless I'm drunk, and like that's the only. So it's just it's one of those things. So anyway, he's like, yeah, I'm a record player, and I'm always playing records. I'm like, cool. I mean, I don't have a. So the vinyl that I own is art pieces like you have behind you, but those are I know those are like gold records and stuff like that, but like stuff like that, like I like putting stuff that meant a lot to me, like those comic books, like I like I can see myself getting London Calling on vinyl because it meant something to me. It changed and I got into that band late too, but like we're putting on buying Revolver and putting that up there would like just albums that Nevermind or Revolver, things that were like monumental moments where I go, whoa, what just happened, like those kind of records. And but yeah, it was never like that. So anyway, LBC did this and I was like, yeah, that'd be cool, man, because I mean when people write me about growing out of it, they're not like, oh my God, that's the best record of all time. They're like, that record brings me back to, so
Yeah.
like I can see people wanting that on their wall. So I was like, yeah, that's cool. I like it. And, I remember Jason being a little offended. He's like, it's not just about putting it on the wall, man. People actually listen to records. I'm like, all right, bro. Cool. Like, no, I didn't mean it like that. It's just, I wouldn't. So anyway, so that's that. I think we sold like 200 in the first day,
That's so
which
cool.
is just crazy.
The double record set, because there are a lot of songs.
Yeah, and it's expensive. It's like, and people are just, they're like, oh, I bought both colors. I'm like, wow. This is becoming like vinyl collecting vinyl has become like such a thing. I can see it behind you right now, right? That's all vinyl. Yeah. But you were doing that before it was cool.
Yeah, that's right, because I'm older.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was giving you a compliment, but I wasn't.
Well, thank you.
And you're an old fuck too, but whatever.
That's right, and I'm an old fuck.
We're both old fucks.
So the thing about growing out of it, yes, it is you at a young age, but I mean, a handful of those songs you loved enough to kind of reinvent.
Oh yeah,
years later. I mean, those songs have been, your calling card for One to the Right. I still think is one of the best songs you guys ever did.
Thanks.
I love that song. Fred Astaire.
That's older than LBC.
What's that?
That's older than LBC. I brought that song from my old man.
Really? And that's definitely one of like the tougher Lucky Boy songs.
That's why it doesn't sound like LBC that much, because it's from my older, like more like grunge band. I was in a band called Farm Boy before LBC. So me and Ryan were in that, and Adam and Joe were in this other band. And that's how the two pieces of both bands came together and kind of did this thing. But yeah, that was from my old band. Yeah. It's one of my favorites, man. I love that song. I've been trying to rewrite that song for 20, 23, 24 years, something like that. And I can't do it. So.
And Fred Astaire, obviously a signature song for you, which
Fred,
back in 1998 with that album.
40/80s on both.
Pop song, which did okay for you.
On both, yeah.
Back then.
Back then only made Grown Out of It. It got nixed from that there's a couple dumb choices by the label on that, where I thought there was a couple of good songs on Grown Out of It, and it's good now. I mean, like, it makes the album whatever, but like some fan favorites and that were nixed for dumb reasons. But yeah, I mean, looking back, it's like that was a record that everything started on. Everything it became real. It was like, okay, I was like, this might turn into something, and if it, and it did, obviously. But yeah, it was a little surreal when I called the place that was duplicating our CDs, and he's like, this is your 10th order, and I'm like, what? And I'm like, what? He's like, this is the 10th time you've pressed this. And then I think I must have been real silent. He's like, hello? I'm like, yeah, hi. I'm like, are you telling me that I sold 9,000 copies of this album? And he's like, well, if you have none left. I'm like, well, we have 100. He's like, 8,900. I'm like, wow.
That is no easy task.
It was a moment. It was a moment it's a moment that's like ingrained in my brain. I'm like, wow. I'm like, wait. And like one of those moments where you like think about how much money Jeff Bezos has or something like that, where you go, I don't know what 10,000 is. Like, I was like, it didn't, I was only 20 years old, like, I hadn't I'm like, what's this, how many 10,000 of these, what does this mean? Like, you know what I mean? It was one of those moments I had. I was like, wow, like, that's a bigger number than I understand, and you just, obviously it got bigger and better since then, but it's like, that was a big moment for me. I was like, I remember that. I had a bunch of those with Grown Out of It. That record is pretty dear to me, because those things, like, where I'm like, whoa, wow, like, you're just people randomly coming up to me on the street, or I think it was me and Adam were walking down the street in Naperville downtown, and these two girls ran up to us, and both of them had the CD on them and had a sign. I was like, what? I remember, I'm like, what's happening, man? And I'm like, this is weird. So yeah, that album really, I mean, it changed everything, you know, so.
For sure. And now, so how do people get this? This is obviously such a limited pressing.
It's through Mutant League Records. It's on our Facebook, like the links and stuff are on our Facebook. So Facebook is just facebook.com/like the voice confusion. And then Mutant League Records is just mutantleaguerecords.com. And it's all the pre-orders through that. We were gonna have them at our show, but obviously we're not. I mean, it hasn't been announced yet, but you can figure it out. We're probably not playing, right? It's April 11th. I mean, I'm immunocompromised. I'm not about to. I don't. My wife went and faced the world today and at the grocery store. Even though I went Friday, I shouldn't have. But she faced because she, you know, like I really should not be going out.
Yeah.
And even after they say like, hey, everybody can come back to work, I'm like, nah, I'm all right. I think I'm gonna sit this out until everybody goes, you know what, everybody that's immunocompromised is okay too, because that's the thing, man. People like me, we get it. We die, so right. It's like we don't fuck around. I mean, people that have HIV are probably scared out of their fucking mind right now because like they can't get a cold, like, you know, and it's I can't imagine. Like I bring up HIV because that's the worst autoimmune disease you can get, right? So.
Yeah, no, this is unprecedented in every way, shape, and form.
And people are still complaining about money. I'm like, man, and I know it's easier said than done. Like, I'm like, save them, man. And I know that's like, you get on people's nerves. Like, oh, it's not as easy as you say it is. I'm like, I understand that, but I don't care if you make $6 an hour or if you make $606 an hour. Nobody says save the same amount. I'm just saying, like, everybody can save 10%, and then you can, like, I hope this changes a bunch of things. I hope this makes everybody realize that you got to figure out a way to, you got to think about the rainy day. That's one. And if that, and I know that sounds condescending and whatever, but I don't care because it's not the time to beat around the bush anymore. And then two, I hope it brings people together because I hope it makes people realize, like, you know what, right wing or left wing, when this shit goes down, we all die the same. Yeah. So, like, think about when you hate me for, or when I hate you for whatever political views you have. I mean, some of them are just not forgivable, you know, like the xenophobia or the racism, but like the other stuff, like the fiscal stuff or the healthcare stuff, and like, you know, like outside of the socially immoral stuff, like, we're all people, man. And like, and then at the end, like when your neighbor, like, if it gets real bad and your neighbor doesn't have food, and because they voted for Trump, you're not going to let them in your house and feed them. Like, think about what's going on here. Like, it's like, I hope that happens. And then the last thing I was going to say is, and this is evil Stubby talking now. Like, this is how the French Revolution started too, man. Like, this is the stuff of revolution. This is the stuff that makes people go, wait, what? So we can't take care of ourselves because all the money is in like these four people's hands. Like, yeah. People are gonna freak out. Like, people are gonna go, wait, and you know what? The one thing that you can't stop with anything is 4 million people walking up to your house and knocking down your fences and going, pay your fair share because we want to live. That's the French Revolution, the Austrian Revolution, the Indian Revolution. All these things happen because of these things happen. So I hope without too much violence or anything. I don't want people. I'm not one of those people, but like, man, that'd be cool.
No, I don't want any violence. I don't want any.
No violence, no death. But like, you know, a revolution doesn't always have to mean violence. Revolution could just say, we can sit down and say no, just no more.
Exactly.
So,
Revolution can just be a brewery for all intents and purposes.
my friend.
Uh-huh.
Good one. Good one.
All right.
Good one.
So real quick, what's going on with Hoodie Life? Last I heard was that song Cocaine.
Yeah, so it's called Dressed Up, but the way I sent it to you,
It's not called Cocaine?
No.
I think I played it like 3 times on the radio and called it Cocaine each time.
It's cool, man. I liked it. I like it. I think I have an idea for that actually, because like I don't want to call it cocaine. One because Clapton, you know, like, and then 2 just because the lyric means something so different than the drug. So it's like I was just like, you know, I don't want people. It already has the lyric in there, like, you know, with the cocaine reference, you know. And I was just I when I meant dressed up like cocaine, more like I meant more like you know, I mean, I could assume that people. I would assume that people think that I've done it more than I actually have. So I don't think that but like it has such a sexy allure to it, and it's such a piece of shit drug. Like that, and that's what I meant. Like, you're dressed up like cocaine, like, you know, like you're like you're like you sound like a great time, and then you're crashing all night. You know, like, and it's like. So that's why I wanted to change the name. Anyway, so that song, and we got 10 songs coming out. We were gonna shoot a video for it, which a simple video for the song "Walk Away," on March 28th, but that's gonna be canceled too. I know it's not gonna be a lot of people, but, you know, again, not taking chances. And our drummer also has something going on. Like, it's just not worth it. So we'll push that back, but then pushes back the release. Because we want to do it together, and then we're gonna do a full-on like badass video for Bottom of the Ocean that we released in August, but we didn't really push it. So we're gonna do a video for that, and then I think we have some ideas on like shows and whatnot. The band's an interesting thing because it's different for me because I don't know what to do with it really, because it's like. It's not really. I even said in the meeting, I go, they're like, Stubby, and I'm like, I'm just here to write the songs, man. Like, I literally said, I'm like, I have no idea how to market this kind of music. I don't know what I'm doing with it. It's pop music, and they're like, well, you're writing it. I'm like, I didn't say I don't like pop punk either, and I can do LBC all day, but it's like that one. At least with that one, it's like I kind of understand it. With this, I'm just like. They're like, well, just go with your gut. And so I said, all right, cool. Then I have this video idea. And they said, awesome. Let's roll with these kind of. They're like, you know, don't think it's so foreign. And once they said that to me, I just kind of go, look, it's just music. Just go with your gut. And it's not like I'm trying to, like, you know, we're older now, man. Like, I'm not trying to, like, you know, like, go on tour with the Jonas Brothers. That's the thing, right? Jonas Brothers.
Sure.
I hear this.
I'm the worst person to talk about pop with.
Okay,
worst.
Cool. Well, I mean, no, man. I mean, you like me. You like old 80s pop like I do, Depeche Mode and
yeah, but that's almost different from Jonas Brothers and pop of. When I think of pop today, I think of Ariana Grande or.
Yeah, I guess. And then, you know, now that I think about it, 80s pop was what, New Kids on the Block and that stuff. And like
that was 90s. I mean, 80s pop was Madonna. 80s pop was Cyndi Lauper. It was Safety Dance by Men Without Hats, which is the worst song ever made.
Yeah, I don't know that.
It's well, good. Never put it in your head.
Well, you know my story. I wasn't allowed to listen to music, so I don't know any of that stuff. But I did. So that okay, that's interesting. So yeah, so like I guess to get back to it, like so I hate pop music. Like it like I like. There's 1 or 2 songs here and there that I was like. I like that one song, Chandelier by Sia. I think that's a really great melody, well-written song. And I like the Take Me to Church song. But that guy's a blues and soul guy that just happened to have a pop hit.
Agreed.
He's a really great guitar player, Hosier.
Yeah,
like an Irish, like, soul and blues guy that just happened to have a song that...
The ladies love Hosier.
I love that. I like that song, and it's really well written, and there's some really cool changes in modulation. I mean, it's a well written song. But anyway, like pop song, like Ariana. My wife likes all that shit and musicals and it's like it's just not for me, man.
Me neither. I'm out.
Yeah, I like give me some Margot and Nuclear So-and-Sos, and that's about the only thing I've liked in the last 10 years that's come out. Oh, you know what? Actually, Ed Shireen or whatever his name is.
Shireen. Yeah, sure.
I don't know how to say that. There's one or two songs that I was like, okay, all right. You know, like he seems like he can write a tune or two.
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah.
All right. So we're all sequestered.
Sorry, we're going off on. I always go off on tangents. I'm sorry.
Which I appreciate. That's part of your charm. So we're all sequestered. We're all stuck at home for the foreseeable future. We may circle back and do this again in a couple months if we're still at home.
Yeah, man.
You know, I think you're delightful, and I love talking to you.
Absolutely, ditto. I mean, obviously, I mean, you were the first person I thought. I'm like, oh man, I'm like saving a copy for James.
Thank you.
I'm like, well, one, I know about your record collection, and two, you were such a big part of the band, and you know, like that whole thing. So I was like, oh man, I gotta save one for him. So.
It's funny. It brought me back when I saw that the record was being pressed. I'm like, God, it's been ages. Like, obviously, we mentioned some of those songs made it to the major label, but I'm like, it's been ages since I've listened to that. And then I looked for it digitally, and I couldn't find it. I'm like, well, good. I'm glad I'm getting the record.
Yeah, you can't find it digitally, and that's a point of contention for me in the band. So like that's gonna change. That has to change. So
it's part of who you are.
Yeah, well, you know.
All right, Stubby, I'm going to let you be a dad. I'm going to let you do your thing.
Star Wars, man. I'm
Star Wars.
Yes,
of course.
It's been ruined for me by now, but like that's my own problem for not watching the most anticipated movie and whatever. So yeah, but I'm excited to see it anyway.
All right, go watch it. We will talk, I'm sure, sooner than later.
Awesome, man. Always good talking to you.
Likewise. Have a good night.